Our topic today is practicing the truth. And my question this morning is, how many of us are really practicing the truth? And sometimes it's easier said than done, right? But as with anything else in life, to be proficient at anything requires practice. No matter how gifted we are, to be a piano player, to play basketball, tennis, any game, to be proficient in anything, we must practice. As the saying goes, use it or lose it. Most of us would like to achieve self-mastery, the ability to understand and control our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to achieve personal goals and a more fulfilling life. And we can by following the master teacher, Jesus. Jesus accomplished Christ consciousness by constantly practicing the truth while he was on earth. He constantly sought God's will and guidance through prayer and contemplation, and by ensuring that his actions aligned with divine purpose. He said the things that he does, we can do also. So we too can achieve self-mastery, but only by practicing rightful living. Beloved friends, we can become the best version of ourselves by cultivating self-awareness, discipline, and resilience. We can navigate challenges by practicing the truth. We may know the truth, read it, speak it, but that's not enough, my friends. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. For us to bear fruit, we have to practice the truth. And we practice the truth by being consciously aware of our thoughts and feelings and how we respond to people and situations. Proverbs 25, verse 28 says, "A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls." This proverb emphasizes the importance of self-restraint and its impact on one's ability to navigate life's challenges and maintain integrity. The analogy compares a person lacking self-control to a city without defense, leaving them vulnerable to attack and destruction. Author Paul Ferrini says, "The self is a wilderness. Leave it unexplored, and the cities are built over it." The philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." I want you to think about that, my friends. No man is free who is not master of himself. Beloved friends, we have control over our thoughts and emotions. We may fall short at times, but we can always take responsibility and start again. There is no limit to how much we can try. When you keep practicing the truth, it soon becomes a part of you. Most of us have heard about the famous Carnegie Hall. It is a concert venue in Midtown Manhattan in New York City, United States, and one of the most prestigious venues in the world for both classical music and popular music. It is not easy to get there to perform. You have to be top of the line. The wife of the famous violinist Mitchell Elman once reported that one day, after a rehearsal that had not pleased Elman, the couple was leaving Carnegie Hall by the backstage entrance, when they were approached by two tourists looking for the hall's entrance. Seeing the violin case, they asked, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" Without looking up and continuing on his way, Elman simply replied, "Practice." Beloved friends, we practice the truth by first living in the awareness of God. Jesus consistently prioritized spiritual awareness and lived in the realm of the Spirit rather than being dominated by the physical world. Sometimes, after achieving some measure of good, we sometimes get distracted and we stop practicing the truth, like the Israelites did after reaching the promised land. Before Joshua died, he reminded them not to forget the Lord who had been good to them on the journey, and they promised that they would not. However, a time came when they got complacent. They stopped practicing the truth, and as a result, they experienced hardships. Temptation will come, and you may fail at times, my friends, but God will never leave us nor forsake us. God's grace is sufficient for us. In our weakness, He will see us through, but we must keep on trying to practice the truth. Secondly, is to look beyond the appearances. We attract what we think. Thoughts held in mind create after their kinds. Negation will not become a part of you if you make it a practice to behold the good despite the appearances, my friends. Instead of concentrating on lack, difficulty, and hardships, try to focus on God's omnipresence and His bounty. The next thing to do is to practice self-reflection and honesty. Regularly examine your thoughts, feelings, and experiences to understand your motivations and beliefs. Then be honest with yourself. Acknowledge your flaws and areas for growth, and be genuine in your self-assessment. You can't fool anybody. You can't fool God. You cannot even fool yourselves, beloved friends. So try to make that assessment and be honest with yourself. And where you see that there is a need to improve, just try practicing. Practice becomes perfect. Try not to be too self-righteous We all fall short. Just keep on acknowledging your true self, and you know that you can always change them, the bad habits, and do what is right and pleasing in the sight of God. The next thing to do is to avoid self-deception. Don't create excuses or rationalize your actions to avoid facing uncomfortable truths. Beloved friends, sometimes we do these things unconsciously, and we're not even aware that we're doing them. But once you become aware of the presence of God in you, and you have that relationship with Him, you are going to face your demons, and you're going to try your utmost best to practice the truth so you can be in line with God. So, beloved friends, share your thoughts and feelings honestly. Even if it's difficult or potentially uncomfortable. Resist the temptation to tell small lies to avoid conflict or embarrassment, as these can erode trust. The next thing, my friends, is to be mindful of your words. Sometimes we get careless with our words, and we create a lot of harm and damage because we're not conscious. We're not spiritually aware. We're not coming from that Christ center, and we say the wrong things at the wrong time to offend people. Consider the impact of your words on others. We're all growing, my friends. We're all guilty of all of the above. But guess what? We know the truth. And we know that we can keep on practicing. And we know that we will arrive at the promised land. Amen? The next thing to do is to understand your values. Identify what is truly important to you and make choices that align with your values. You're not trying to please anybody but yourself. And when you please yourself, you're pleasing God. Amen? All right. The next thing is to take responsibility. Own your actions and decisions, and be accountable for the consequences. The next thing, be authentic. Live in a way that is consistent with your beliefs and values, even if it means standing up for what you believe in, even though everybody else is saying something different. Yes, right, Miss Charlotte? Stand up for what you believe in. Voice your truth with love. That's the key. Voice your truth with love. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody is an individual going through their own individual experiences. So, just be who you are without being offensive. Just do it from a Christ-centered spirit. What would Jesus do? Keep asking yourself. Beloved friends, this is what it takes to practice the truth. 1, live in the awareness of God. Can't go wrong. Look beyond the appearances. Sometimes our minds will tell us something different from what is the truth. We have to pay attention. But when we're centered in spirit, God is going to guide us and direct us. Then we're going to practice self-reflection and honesty. Be honest with yourself. Avoid self-deception. Understand your values and live by them. Take responsibility. When you are wrong, own it. Say, I am wrong. But I know that I can do better. Forgive yourself for judging, for coming to the wrong conclusions. Take responsibility and say, wow, had I known, I am so sorry for having taken that attitude. So, there you have it, my friends. Practice, practice, practice. And you will eventually get there. I invite you to take a deep breath right now, where you are. Just take a deep breath and feel your oneness with Spirit. And know that with God, you can do anything, not of yourself, only with God. You have divine potential. Speak the word, live the truth, and silently affirm, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.